All right, this one's going to be hopefully pretty quick, kind of straightforward. So I was reading on my Twitter feed today, somebody said something to the effect of there are just some subjects that just aren't up for debate, and why bother? I find this position to be downright just fucking retarded. It's stupid. And let me put it to you in a couple ways so you can understand why. So, um, before I continue, let's just sum up that there are some things that are pretty clear and objectively true. Like the Flat Earth Society are just special people thinking that the Earth is flat while every other celestial body in the sky is round. Yet we're the special ones on a flat Earth. You can measure it using simple math and a simple experiment that's been done for a good 2,000 years. It's been around for a while. Yet here they are claiming that the Earth is flat. They're considered a laughingstock, yet no one has any problems debating them, making them look foolish over and over again, except for a few people. And those few people are galvanized, I think. So another discussion. I heard atheism is unstoppable. Devin Tracy actually used this argument as well, particular toward religion in general and Christianity exclusively, probably. And he's not exactly a big fan of Islam either. But essentially, he's said that the discussion's been done ad nauseum. It's been done over and over again. They have lost the debate, and I would normally agree. Except, how many Christians are there across the world? If it's a subject that's been won, and it's a subject that has been done repeatedly over and over again, then why is there still 1/3 or something like that of the human population that still believes in a God? Of the Christian variety, that is. And next up being Islam, being one of the biggest religions. Same thing. They believe in Allah, which doesn't exist either, but their debate's not done at all. And then I was reading along that they think that just some things shouldn't be open to debate, and I don't agree. Now, where I do agree is this claim that we should teach the controversy. Teaching is the dispensation of knowledge. You're transferring knowledge of an objective truth from one person to another, or it's technically transferring tacit to explicit knowledge, and so on and so forth. You teach somebody to do math. You teach somebody to cook. You teach somebody to do menial tasks, manage their paycheck, all sorts of things. Teach them to drive. However, you indoctrinate ideas. So you're not necessarily taught Christianity. You are made to believe in Christianity, or not believe, lack thereof, in my case. So when somebody says that some subjects are not for debate, who's to decide what those subjects are? Are they the ones that are objective truth? If that's the case, why are there people that still believe in him? Furthermore, how are you going to convince them that they're wrong if you won't even speak to them? We can all think of a certain somebody that has issues just like that, where this person will not debate others. This person won't talk to anybody. This person, or actually a group of friends, I guess you could say, aren't interested in the conversation because things are just not up for debate. They think they have the high ground. Much is the same position that some people say that we have the high ground intellectually for the flat earthers, or Christianity, or Judaism, or Islam, or any of the religions. It's a very poor position to take. There was a French writer. His name is Joseph Joubert. I think that's how you pronounce it. Who once said the aim of the argument or the discussion is not victory, but progress. I find this to be interesting and true at the same time. You're not debating, like, you don't debate your partner or your staged opposition because you want to win one over. The discussion between Jordan Peterson and Kathy Newman was not a victory or loss, but a progress of a sort. He basically demonstrated to everybody that holds the feminist ideology that the ones that they demonize aren't exactly the ones that they think they are. And then the media has tried to demonize him, but the evidence is out there on their own channel. They cannot hide this. To claim that he's just an evil person is to galvanize the conversation. They're trying to bully the people into submission, in other words. One of the leading contributing factors as our society has grown in controlling the masses is through fear, because it's our base emotion. It's the root of all of our driving force, if you will. The first emotion most animals feel exclusively and heavily is fear, especially fear of the unknown. But I digress. The whole discussion, the whole point, the whole topic around the conversation's over and there's just nothing to debate is idiotic. I think the position that they're actually stating is they're not interested in having these conversations anymore because they've done it ad nauseum. They've proved so many people wrong over and over and over again that it's become monotonous. It feels pointless to them. Mainly because they feel that they've won repeatedly over and over and over again. And to a certain extent, that's true. So there is a quote from a great book that I'm going to read to you. Yes, The Art of War. It's a great book. I happen to have a really interesting copy of this nifty little book because my copy comes in both English and Chinese. No, I will not be reading the Chinese to you. I can't manage that one yet. I'm trying. So at the end of this particular section is one of the most famous quotes out of the Book of War, or The Art of War. And I think it applies to the conversation we're having for pretty much everyone else. Now, I hope I've nailed home that we need to continue to have these conversations whether you like it or not. You may feel like it's ad nauseum, but it's not for you. It's for everyone that listens to you. I invite you to look. I'll do that at the end, actually. There's one place I want you guys to look that I find entertaining, but I'm also weird, so go figure. It's a site that I'll link in the description, and you may or may not enjoy these, but it'll prove my point, and I'll link to the one that I think is most relevant, and you'll see why. So, out of the Book of War, thus we may say that if you know yourself and know your enemy, you will gain a victory 100 times out of 100. If you know yourself but do not know your enemy, you will meet one defeat for every victory. If you know neither yourself nor your enemy, you will never be victorious.
Master, well, can you tell me who has right on their side?
Right is right, wrong is wrong. Who is in the right or who is in the wrong cannot be judged without proper knowledge.
Now here's where it's interesting, right? I would consider myself one of the ones that were advocating against social justice for a number of reasons. I'll point those out in a later video. Essentially, to know your enemy and to know yourself is to win 1,000 victories. We have dissected social justice, feminism, and Marxism and all that other stuff ad nauseum. We've had the debates, we've had the discussions until, if you noticed, the discussions got shut down. They got shut down because they kept on losing, and they kept on losing followers, and they kept on losing interest, and more importantly, funding. Now, as that occurs, the first person to throw the stone is usually the person that's wrong. If you're having an open discussion and you frustrate the person to the point of violence, you've won the discussion. But you've not necessarily changed their mind. And it could be that you won't. You might have a William Lane Craig on your hands, or this guy. But it could be that they've had these thoughts, but they refuse to discuss it with anyone because they think they're right. They've never been challenged effectively or rationally, perhaps. They've never been made to think outside their box. This is why the debate and discussion is important on all topics that you hold principles for, that you think are important to have. Now, I think there's one caveat to this that we all should take to heart, and that is you could be wrong. So if you're having these discussions and you think you're right, but the other person has some very valid and sound arguments that you can't just seem to get around, you might want to consider that you might be wrong. In the case with Cathy Newman, for example, where she got trapped into her ideological bubble and pretty much put herself in a corner, like what gives your right to free speech to go over somebody's right to be offended, and pretty much trapped herself after she did some self-reflection at that moment, saying, yeah, I've been kind of an ass. And, well, I guess he's got a point. She couldn't refute it. It's moments like those that strike light bulbs in the ones that are watching. That was probably one of the most interesting and most watched videos between not internet celebrities, but TV celebrities. Right up there was the debate with Sargon and Richard Spencer, which made number one in trending, I believe. It was that insane. And if you notice, every time that Richard Spencer got trapped into his ideological bubble, instead of fumbling over words trying to argue his way out of his own corner, because Sargon gave him no place to run, no quarter to hide, it was personal attacks and insults meant to infuriate and antagonize Sargon. And unfortunately, he fell for it because it was an assault on one of his values, an assault on his integrity and his intelligence. And it's clearly something he holds dear. He would like to think that he's rather intelligent thanks to all that he's put effort into to make him be perceived in that way. But I wanted to leave you with this, that no debate is done until the ideological position of the party that's clearly and objectively not true, i.e. flat earthers, don't exist. The biblical sense, the religions of the world, when we are left with nothing but the fictional books that were written by goat herders and warlords, all the monuments and all the buildings that were created are left for tourism, and no one actually rationally believes that such things exist, we have won the argument. Until then, it's carry on, because by principle we must. We are trying to progress ourselves toward a more rational society and a more rational humanity, not leave it open for additional people to just believe and listen. So that's all I got. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'm going to try and go to bed early tonight, so I'm going to cut it a little bit short. But, yeah, I hope you tune in my podcast this Friday. It should be interesting. I tried to get a couple people on to discuss this with me, but no one responds. Go figure. Yeah, thank you for watching. And I almost forgot the website I was talking about, or rather the YouTube channel. It's called Intelligence Squared Debates. I've actually retweeted a few of those, and they're fantastic. And it will show you precisely why we need to hammer home the conversations over and over again. The one I'm going to link, I want you to pay attention to the scoring in particular. This is a classic, straight up, perfect debate. It's beautiful. I want you to look at the scoring before and the scoring after. Listen to the conversation. It's about an hour and a half long. It's not terribly bad. But listen to the whole thing, and you can understand why I emphasize that just because you think that the objective truth is the absolute truth, and in most cases it is, does not mean that some people just don't get it and they need it hammered into their damn brains. All right, thank you.
I've completed my work. Time for me to go.